So the review embargo for Stellar Blade is up and the media is already on the attack. We're going to be going through some of these articles and things that the media is saying to attack the game while also praising it. They have to praise it because if they don't, they're probably going to lose a lot of credibility. I mean, this game is the most pre-ordered game in the world right now. It's #1 in pre-orders in several countries. I think that it's sold out in many places and it is now sitting at a healthy 82 on Metacritic, which is generally favorable according to the website, but a lot of people love this game and 0 people so far have given it a negative review. And I find that to be very fascinating because again, the media is on the attack and we have to take a look at some of the things that they've been saying. From Grum's here, Stellar Blade review day, and IGN is already going after the game. Calling this screenshot racist is a huge stretch, but they have to imagine racism everywhere when they can't find enough to keep the machine going. And it says right here in this photo, Sony says Stellar Blade art referencing racist language was unintentional, will be patched out. Sony says it will remove Stellar Blade artwork that appears to reference racist slurs, claiming that the phrase's inclusion was unintentional. So they admit that it wasn't even on purpose that they did this. I mean, it's not out of the ordinary to have graffiti on a wall, but people have made this connection because in the photo, it shows graffiti on a wall, as you can see below me, and you'll see a better picture in a second, but it says hard right there and then R right next to it, and it's referencing hard R. It's not an intentional reference, but it is 2 dots that some random person decided to connect and share with the world. It's a conflation of 2 different things to point something out that really doesn't exist, but the media has decided to run with this story anyway because IGN is writing entire articles about it. It's like, this racist language that they put there, it's going to be removed. Stellar Blade is already causing trouble in the gaming industry on release. And this might shock people, but they already patched it out. It says right here, Shift Up replaces hard R with crime after journalists complained to Sony. So yes, after this complaint was made, they changed the graffiti on the wall. So as you can see right here, they have the hard R on the wall, but it wasn't on purpose. They just connected this dot, and we'll go over who did this in just a second. In the photo on the right, we have the replacement, which was crime. So I guess this is much better in their opinion of what should be there. And there's some controversy about this decision that Shift Up made because some people feel like they're bending the knee to Sony, but I mean, they eliminated the problem really quick and they just showed to the world that they don't care enough about it for it to be there, that they have to keep it. You know, they're not trying to fight to keep it. They just kind of removed it and that's it. But of course the media is going to be like, a cautionary tale for video game developers. If only they had hired Sweet Baby Inc. to do a sensitivity reading on their content. But this incident does indeed have a source. YouTuber Lance McDonald, Man Fight Dragon, an influential Souls player, seems to have been the source of the Stellar Blade hard R image picked up by journalists and censored by Sony. I have no idea why he has me blocked and never interacted with him. That is interesting that he has him blocked. It could be due to a blockchain, or maybe he doesn't like Grums very much, but he does say in his post, which is the thing that got picked up by journalists and just spread everywhere to try and smear Stellar Blade on the day of review embargo release. Stellar Blade embargo is up, so I can finally show you the hard R shop graffiti. Lamau, wonder how long this will take to get patched out. I don't even know what this guy's opinions are mostly. I don't even know if this is him being accusatory of the game or if he was just trying to make a funny. Either way, the media ran with this and they've been reporting on it all morning. This thing has been seen by 500,000 people already, according to the posts I'm looking at right here. 549,000 people. I'm sure it'll get bigger because the media loves to jump on this stuff, and you know the haters of Stellar Blade, they're going to eat this up and try to use it against the company. Not that anybody will take it seriously, because more often than not, the media is very hypocritical, which is why they're coming out and giving the game really good reviews, but they're also trying to attack it at the same time. It is a very fascinating situation. So it says right here from IGN, Stellar Blade is great in all of the most important ways for an action game, but dull characters, a lackluster story, and several frustrating elements of its RPG mechanics prevent it from soaring along with the best of the genre. But they give it a 7, which is a great score coming from the company that had people at their IGN headquarters in France slam this game, saying that the creator had no idea what a woman looks like and he's never seen one. It's hilarious. And we also have this from VGC. Stellar Blade in-game graffiti, which references a racial slur, will be patched out in the game's day 1 patch, Sony has said. And they already did it. They did it like maybe within hours, maybe a couple hours of the announcement being made. Interestingly enough, their review is pinned to their front page on their Twitter. So review, Stellar Blade is one of the most mechanically satisfying action games of the generation so far. They give it a 4 stars out of 5. So the media is trying to point out these bad things about the game, but they also have to praise the game. they cannot deny that it's actually a good game that people enjoy to play and is being pre-ordered by so many people across the world that it is actually ridiculous. And Grums says right here, the Eurogamer review blasts Stellar Blade, blaming it for creating harassment, but it also gives it a 4 out of 5. So they're trying to slam the game, but they can't help but give it a good review because they know that if they give it a bad review, their credibility will be eradicated within seconds. It comes across as sleazy, yes, but apparently that works for more than just men. In one sense, it makes me think, who am I to judge, really? I sleep with birdmen in Mass Effect. Okay, whatever that means. And yet at the same time, I can see the design history this type of over-sexualization has had in gaming when it was indeed made with men solely in mind. So I get some of the criticism. Do you? But then they go on to say, it's an unwelcome reminder of how gaming used to treat its women as objects to ogle. And this is why I think that these writers have never played video games before this era of gaming. They just have not played games back then, because this is not the sort of thing that real OG gamers cared about back in the day, all right? They had respect for their female characters. There are plenty of amazing, awesome, strong female characters in the gaming world, but the media constantly ignores this and tries to paint a narrative that gamers have somehow revived the old misogynistic catastrophe that almost ruined women in gaming. I mean, that's just never happened, but they do go on to say this. At worst, however, it's incredibly toxic discourse that turned Stellar Blade into a lightning rod for harassment. So they're saying that because of Stellar Blade, a lot of innocent people are being harassed. So there you have it. You can like Stellar Blade's sexualization without going on a hate campaign against all other types of women in games. It's amazing how they just make things up like this. Most people who have been harassed in this situation have been gamers. In fact, much of the discourse has been exploding because of the fact that Sweet Baby Inc. harassed and tried to get somebody canceled. And because of that, gamers are now taking a stand because they see that something's wrong in the gaming industry. Something is up and they don't like it. But sure, Eurogamer, you do you. But they do say, yeah, hate campaign against all other types of women in games and women working in the game space. I can't imagine that they're talking about a certain senior editor from a certain news outlet, quote, but then admitting that would make too much sense. They can't help but just slam gamers. They have to slam gamers and Stellar Blade in any way that they can, while also giving it a good review. They say these things and say it's a lightning rod of harassment. Look at all the damage it's caused and how it's directed at the male gaze. The audacity, the gall, how dare they? 4 out of 5 stars. 4 out of 5 stars, man. After saying this stuff, they have to give it a good score. Are these guys really credible? I think not. I don't really care what journalists think these days. It's the gamers whose opinions really matter. When you start to take these quote-unquote journalists seriously, they share even more irrational opinions as time goes on. Ash Parrish from The Verge, who tried to paint all gamers inside of a Discord, like thousands of them, as white supremacists, Ash Parrish says, "Oh, that reminds me, I have a sneaking suspicion that AI might have been used to make some of the game's posters." Who cares? It's like, oh, they made posters with AI. That discredits the entire game and nobody should buy it. Really? See, they got to get those little jabs in. You know, they're just like, oh yeah, we support it kind of, but we don't. Look, even Kotaku is praising this game. You don't believe me? Check this out from Grums. I told you to pin this tweet about Stellar Blade. Was I right? Even Kotaku likes the game and now cites Bayonetta. So they connected those two dots that they were first trying to deny. They were trying to separate Bayonetta and Eve from Stellar Blade. They were saying that Bayonetta was a real strong woman, but now they're saying that Stellar Blade is in that same spiritual vein as Bayonetta. So they say right here in this photo, everything clicks, and when you unlock her full arsenal, Eve is the baddest bee around. Wow, that's a lot of praise coming from Kotaku. What else do they say? Despite all this, I still had a great time with Stellar Blade. And the reviewer goes on to say, it isn't perfect, but in its best moments, Stellar Blade is still pretty stellar. Isn't that such an interesting thing that they're praising the game, but they also have to attack it? Okay, so first off, I want to show you this. I find this really hilarious. So these titles are very telling about how they're trying to hide their positive rhetoric about Stellar Blade. So right here it says, Stellar Blade, the Kotaku review. They don't give you any indication on whether it's a good or bad review, but then they go on an hour later and say Fallout 76 is getting something rare, a second chance at a first impression. They give that positive indication, and then they do it again. Sandland's video game adaptation is a devilishly good time. Positive review. I mean, they show their viewers what, you know, It's not like anybody's paying attention to Kotaku anyway. But by the way, I can't wait for Sandlands. That's a game that I'm anticipating as well. And then they go again. Ahead of Dawn Trail, Final Fantasy XIV players are conflicted about healers. Slightly negative, right? But at least they let you know what they're going to do in this article. And then how to make Fallout 76 running like crap on PC. But it's just like Stellar Blade the Kotaku review. Speaking of Stellar Blade the Kotaku review, Shift Up's PS5 exclusive has some stellar moments, but frustrating platforming and flat characters hold it back from greatness. One thing I wanted to point out in this article that I think is the most important point that this writer makes: there's real beauty to behold in Stellar Blade, especially in the character models. Right here, they admit it, that the character models in the game are especially beautiful. Okay, they don't just say that they're really good models, they're really pretty models. No, they say especially beautiful models. Hilarious, because they have been trashing the crap out of this game for as long as I can remember. They go on to point out their dislike about the platforming or how sometimes the enemies are easy, but then they go on to praise its open world and its in-depth skill system and its combat system, the beautiful graphics and the character models. I mean, they say so many positive things about this game. And right here at the bottom, back of the box quote, it's giving Bayonetta inside Devil May Cry. I mean, goodness. They were outright denying this just a little while back, and now they're turning around and saying positive things about this game. Why do you suppose that is? Maybe it's because it's the most pre-ordered game in the world. Maybe it's because it has an 82 on Metacritic and they're freaking out because they realize they're on the wrong side of the argument. Type of game: character action adventure game. Liked the intense action, stylish outfits, and introspective moments. They like the outfits. They like the way that the characters look and the way that the game plays, and they disliked the one-dimensional characters and frustrating platforming. So they didn't like their personalities, the way that the characters spoke. They felt that they phoned in a lot of their lines, but they liked the combat and the introspection. This is textbook backpedaling. Kotaku spearheaded the hate campaign for this game, but the reality is they can say whatever they want about the game. That doesn't mean that people won't buy it, but it's not like Shift Up cares about what the media is saying about the game. They say in this post, "Thanks for the great reviews from so many journalists. Now it's almost time to get your game on." And I think it's pretty clear that they're talking to gamers right here and throwing a jab at reporters that have been smearing their game. And they've been doing a really good job of ignoring this. I said, congratulations, the score is awesome, but gamers knew this would be a flying success no matter what. They know a good game when they see it. You deserve the praise. Most people are very happy about the direction of this game, and they're happy that it's being reviewed positively. And the media, again, they can't deny that this is one of the most anticipated games ever and that they're really enjoying it. And as you can see right here, 0 negative reviews, guys. Okay, 85% to 86% positive, 12% mixed, 0 negative reviews. All those times that the media came out and tried to accuse gamers of being simps and weirdos and creeps for liking this game because of the main character and how she looks, basically beauty shaming her, calling her fake, making racist remarks about her, saying awful things about male gamers and just gamers in general when men and women both clearly want this game. They love this game. After all of that, they turn around and they give it a positive review. It's amazing, isn't it? The power that gamers have when they express themselves and they vote with their wallets and they publicly speak about how they feel about a game. I mean, that has power because Kotaku and other media outlets that have been slamming it and attacking gamers relentlessly for weeks now are now having to turn around and save face because they know they are on the wrong side of the argument. As Endymion says here, Stellar Blade runs flawlessly on PlayStation 5 and has no bugs at launch. We should be celebrating a game like this in today's market. I mean, how many games have come out that have been disasters out of the gate? A Battlefront remake, remember that? So many issues, and I was especially disappointed about that. Plenty of games. Starfield, where do I even begin with that game? But he goes on to say Western games almost never launch like this, which explains why they want you to hate it. It's got an attractive protagonist and actually works day one. Yep, they're going to try to bury this game. And Digital Foundry, the tweet that he quoted says, Stellar Blade on PlayStation 5, the DF Tech review. Dark One X is impressed by a game that taps into the spirit of the PS2 era, delivered with a highly polished, bug-free deployment on Unreal Engine 4. This is a rarity. I mean, it's rare for a game to come out with no bugs at launch, and in something that looks as graphically appealing as this game, that's a significant step in the right direction. Unfortunately, the West has yet to catch up with that, and I agree. Maybe that's exactly why Western journalists are trying to slam this game, because they know that if people enjoy this game and that if this game succeeds, they're going to be made to look like fools. Unfortunately, they already do, and that is all I've got in this video for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't haven't had the chance to like it and share it with your friends, that would be awesome. And hey, if you're feeling ultra spicy, consider subscribing to my channel so that you're always up to date on what kind of thing I've got going on. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Later. Meow meow.